Who didn't want to build a robot growing up? I'm Jackie Ferris. This week on the 302, we'll show you a program that's encouraging kids to do just that. Grab your toolbox. We're building up to the 302. Hey 302, it's Jackie Ferris. Who didn't want to build a robot when they were teenagers? Well, now there's a program that encourages kids to do just that, and the end game is helping them get jobs in the technology and engineering fields and much more. We are at DuPont, and I'm here with John LaRock. He is the team coordinator for Mo365 and the Miracle Workers. So let's talk a little bit about the program itself. Building robots, that sounds fascinating.
It's an exciting program, and it's an international program. So how this works is that students from all over the world, but we have students in Delaware at about between 10 and 15 different schools around the state. And what they do is they come together, form a team, and build robots for competition. The competition starts locally, but then it gets international. And how they do this is they work with engineers, so they work with professionals that have done this. This is our 21st year. We're going into our 21st season. And we have adults that are working with the students to build a robot for a game. And the game changes every year. It's a different challenge. It's not BattleBot, so we don't destroy each other. We help each other. So it's actually a sports game. And so what happens is the students are trained in the fall. This program tracks along with the school year. So in the fall, the students are trained on certain areas like mechanical engineering, mechanical, electrical, programming, social media. We have a social media team, computer-aided design, and they learn those skills in the fall. And then what happens at the end of the fall, we get the game, and so do another 3,000–4,000 teams around the world. And we have a limited amount of time then to build a robot to play the game. And then we go into a competition season in like March and April. And then you progress through the competition tiers as you go.
So how do you pick the students?
Well, the students, it's actually kind of a self-selection. When we started, we were actually an Explorer post with the Boy Scouts of America. So we got students through their program that were interested in science and technology. Since then, though, it's evolved. That was 21 years ago. It's evolved, and we really have the students from the previous years word of mouth. We do outreach. We have websites. We put things on Facebook, and students and their parents come to us. We also do presentations at our sponsors, DuPont being one of them. And the parents would say, hey, my son or daughter's interested in that. This is one of 4 programs that are progression of programs from elementary school all the way up through high school. So the students in these earlier age programs progress. So they can see the programs that are out in front of them, and they have opportunities then to say, I want to do that when I get older. I want to do that when I get older. One of our students here actually saw us at Hagley Museum a number of years ago as a very young student and said, I want to do that when I get in high school, and he is.
So you don't necessarily have to have a knowledge of how to build a robot at home. You just have to have the passion and the desire.
Yes, I mean this is like a sports team, so you have to be committed to it. And what happens is the students really, we don't have any qualifications or requirements except for being committed, being active when they're here, and being respectful to the other people they're working with. And that's basically about it. We'll teach them everything else.
Now, it's not just, the crew that teaches them how to build. There's a whole team of people that lift these kids up and mentor them through the process.
Sure.
Can you talk about the other folks that are involved?
Sure. We're very lucky. We have fortunately, we have a good group of volunteers. Some of them are previous parents. Some of them are just people that want to help. And obviously we have the technology people, the people that work in and teach the mechanical components, the electrical, and the programming. But we also have people that are teaching them about how to be an ambassador, how to talk to other people, how to build a business plan, how to work on finances, how to arrange events, how to also do PR. So basically we have a social media team that goes out and basically just takes the season and puts it in a story for other people to see to draw more people in. And we want to draw in, obviously, students, mentors, and sponsors.
So the end game, of course, is to get these kids excited in the various fields and have them progress. Now, we were talking a little bit about what happens after these competitions in life.
Sure. Well, the nice thing is that this has been around long enough. We've been in 21 years, but the program's been close to 30 years old. And a lot of employers are sponsors for these teams, and a lot of schools have these students go through as and become alumni. So schools are very interested. In fact, up to $80 million worth of scholarships are available for students in this program, high school students. And companies are giving these students internships, things like that. MIT, for example, a large percentage of their freshman class come from these type of students.
That's amazing. This really must do a lot to build confidence and show, a teenager that the world is their oyster.
Absolutely. Well, what it does, it builds their self-esteem, and they can build things, and they can actually build things that have never been built before. And they learn how to fix things that break a lot. And so part of our program is we get better and better as we go through the year. And this is what life is. This is what design is. This is what engineering is to learn this stuff. And they're doing it here as high school students.
Excellent. Thank you so much. We're going to go and we're going to talk to some of the kids and then take a look at some of their creations right after this. We'll be right back.
I am Dan with Fearless Improv, and you are laughing with the 302.
Welcome back. We're talking to the team of miracle workers, and they've got their creation from last year in front of us. First of all, what's your name?
David Miller.
So tell me what exactly we have here. What is this?
So right now we're looking at our previous spot, Supermova, for the space theme that we had last year. And it's meant to complete a game task that requires it to take a ball, somewhat like a kickball, and a flat circular disc, and place them in certain places in the field. So right here we have the arm, which lifts up both the ball and the disc using that little mechanism down there. And other than that, it just moves around and gets things places they need to be.
Now, all of you guys have been on the team at least 1 year. I know this is your second year, but we've got a couple of 3 and 4 year team members. So talk to me about, you've gotten that first year out of the way. You're looking at the season coming up. Are you excited?
I'm really excited for this season, especially since we're now, FIRST is sponsored by Lucasfilms.
Excellent.
That's really exciting.
So let's talk a little bit about the challenge. First of all, give me your name.
My name's Jared Paul.
So talk to me about the challenge of putting together something like this, because the folks at home are looking at this and going, oh my goodness, that is complicated.
Yeah, it's very complicated. So there's many different teams that work on different designs, and sometimes necessarily don't fit with each other, because people who work on the arm, might necessarily interfere with people who are working on a climber. So the pieces don't necessarily fit all together. So we have people in a computer-aided design who help piece it all together, tell them what can change, what can't change, and it's a lot of team cooperation, a lot of communication, and a lot of willing to be adaptable in any situation with the project.
I can imagine that's a very important skill going forward. And all of you guys may be thinking about a career in a field similar to this, maybe?
Yeah.
Yes. Talk to me a little bit about what field that you think that you might potentially go into.
I'm probably going into biomedical engineering, maybe, because that's going to be a big field eventually.
Sure. And what is your name?
Annie Hughes.
Nice to meet you. All right, so what do you want people at home to know about this program, besides the fact that it's a lot of fun?
So one of the most unique things about this program is that we are a community-based team. We all come from either Delaware, Maryland, Pennsylvania. We all come from different schools, and we probably wouldn't even meet each other until 10, 20 years into our career, and it's really great to meet each other and learn from each other from this great and wonderful experience.
All right, so let's talk about the competitions. What are the competitions like?
The competitions are kind of like any kind of sporting event. You have people coming from all over the tri-state area, so people from Maryland, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania and Delaware come to compete at local high schools on a regional level. and everyone from their team comes and cheers on. Even people who are related to the team members come and cheer them on. And it works they have referees, they have scorekeepers, they have positions. So there's first place, second place, third place, and everyone works on a team and compete against each other. Now, it's not like BattleBots where they fight, but it competes in a sports event. So it's still like a real competition, and it's a lot of fun.
So I understand there's even a pit crew. Yeah. So talk to me about the pit crew.
As an ambassador, I worked and saw what the pit crew was doing, and they work on the bot basically in between the matches, and they try to get it done as fast as possible because they don't know how long they have until the next match. Sometimes it's 3 hours, sometimes it's 15 minutes,
Yeah,
5
15
minutes.
Yeah.
And then if they have a long period of time in between matches, they tend to go and use the practice field to practice driving and make sure every function works.
So there's a lot of test runs as you guys are going through this. Can you talk to us about the test runs? Jared?
Yeah, so I was part of the pit crew, and then the drive team, they would do test runs that basically, make sure every function is working correctly, so the arm is working correctly, the drive's working correctly, and they would have a practice field where people would, take turns just making sure their functions were working on an actual field. And so it would if something was broken, the pit crew would come in immediately and try to fix it up before the next match. So there's a lot of time pressure and could be a lot of hassle to get something done.
Now, I know there's going to be some teenagers that are going to be at home and they're going to say, man, this looks really complicated. I don't know that I could do this. I don't have any experience. What would you say, I don't know who wants to talk, about to someone who wants to get involved but is a little nervous that maybe they can't do it?
My friend, she was a sophomore when this team came to our school, and I was a little hesitant about joining it. But then a year after she asked me to join, I went again to see what it was about, the demo, and I really felt connected to it even more so after doing a year of computer science and stuff. So even though I was hesitant and I just put myself up to it, I just did it. I wouldn't regret doing it ever again.
Anybody can do it, you think?
Yes, anyone can do it.
Excellent.
I wasn't the greatest at math, but now I'm better.
You, right?
Yeah, it's helped me a lot. I can do math on the top of my head.
Well, they say if you're doing something you enjoy, you tend to learn at a much faster pace and you retain it. Now, before we go, this machine here has got to have some repairs done before we can see it in action. So what are you going to be doing?
So I'll be helping take care of the camera so that the driver is able to use it to position themselves in the bot so that they can, place the hatch panels and put the cargo in, I guess, the cargo ships. These are, terms.
So how are you going to fix this camera?
Well, right now it's kind of just feeling out what's wrong with the wire, because everything's fine with the camera, but the connection's weird. So it shouldn't be acting like that, and so we kind of have to follow it around. I mean, it's the path of the wire on the robot to see where there might be a break or an issue.
So is this thing easy to drive?
No, it's easier to drive if you have a camera working, but sometimes things don't work. You know what, it's not your fault, it's just that things happen.
It definitely takes a lot to get used to, but once you get it, you have it down pat.
And we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Caroline Western here at Hagley Museum and Library, and I can't wait for you to learn on the 302.
Welcome back. I'm with John LaRock, the team leader for Miracle Workers, and we're going to get a demonstration.
Sure. So this is our robot from last year's game. This robot's name is Supermova. All of our robots have Mo in the name, and this game was about deep space, and it was for the 50th anniversary of the moon landing, so it's a moon-based theme. This robot, you're going to drive it off this platform, so go ahead guys, you can drive. So they're driving off the platform. It has to start that way. It comes off the platform, you get extra points if you drive it off of high platforms. Now you can also get points if you can grab these balls off the floor and score them into these goals. And so there's a low goal that they're scoring in right now. So guys, come on up to it. So they missed, but typically what you want to do is you want to score it inside that compartment that they're trying to score it in. So they have to go get the ball. And one of the things they can't do, they can't necessarily see where the ball is. We do have a camera on this robot that they can see. So now they're trying to lift it up on the arm, and they're going to score it into, you can score it into rocket if you want to, or this. They drop it off in there. And so we have a couple of different goals where they can score it from. David, once you get the ball and they can score it in the rocket. So obviously we have another robot there that's kind of just sitting there trying to prevent them from doing stuff. It's just for fun. But now they're going to go over to this. This is a simulation of a rocket. This is actually on the playing field, and they're trying to get it in the center hole. So you have to line up to it and actually score it. So that's what they're trying to do, and they missed it. But you know, they were trying pretty hard.
Yeah.
But
it's got to be difficult to navigate those machines.
Well, it is. We have a bunch of sensors on this, and so what happens is the sensors, and we haven't perfected them right now, but we actually earlier in the season we had them perfected. What happens is that there's a sensor that says that they have the ball, that they've grabbed it, so they know about it.
Right.
And then when they're driving, they actually have a camera on this. Don't block them, guys. Let them go in. And then they have to line up. So the problem is lining up to this is a little bit difficult. On these goals, though, there's tape, retroreflective tape, and there we go.
There you go.
And they can actually see the tape, so
No.
they can work with the tape to line up.
Is this what competition is sort of like?
Except you have 6 robots instead of 1, and you have teams of 3 on 3. There's alliances, so 3 robots are on one alliance, 3 robots on the other alliance, and you compete. And one robot can play defense, kind of like this Bughead is doing with this robot. You can actually play defense on the other alliance. And try to prevent them from scoring.
So while you may be trying to prevent them from scoring, this is really a community of teams that work together. You help each other to make sure you get to this point.
Sure, it's a competition, but at the same time, one of the core tenets of the program, the first program, is something called gracious professionalism. And what that is, it's that teams play really hard and they try to win, but they're helping each other at the same time. There's no booing in this competition. What happens is we actually have team members, and other teams do also, that come to the competitions to try to help other teams get their robots ready to compete. In fact, even before that, what's happening, there are teams like ours all across the country and all across the world that are working at the same time. So we want people to come to competitions and have robots that work.
Excellent. So you're watching this one guy trying to play defense.
Yeah, he's playing some defense on the other one, trying to block them from doing this. It doesn't take much to block you, actually, from doing what you want to do, especially if you have some people who probably could use some practice evading. So we have a battery check. So what's happening right now is our pit crew member in electrical, David, is coming in, and Jared. They're coming in to change the battery. You can see these batteries are pretty big. They're about 9 pounds. And the batteries give you about a whopping 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes of power. So they're changing the battery right now. We change batteries between matches so we have a fresh battery. Matches are about 2.5 minutes long each.
So you go to these different competitions. How do you move all this stuff?
Yeah, so that's what we transport. So what happens is the robots and the pit, we actually have a pit that comes in too, and other equipment that we load onto a truck. We usually rent a truck and we take it to competition. Some teams have trailers that they own and they bring it to competition. So we bring a lot of stuff, and it's heavy.
Oh, I can imagine. Talk to me a little bit about, you're the team leader, but you've also got other people that are really helping to lift these kids up that are here today that unfortunately we didn't have enough time to get on camera and talk to.
We have a lot of people. We're very blessed that we have a lot of people that are participating in making this one team successful, and it happens elsewhere too. But we have parents. We have parents of students that are currently on the team that help out as boosters. We have parents from previous students that were on the team that have hung around, they haven't left, and they stay around and they're in professional roles, technical roles that help us with the team. In addition to that, and what they do is they work with the students to make the students, to train them in the fall, and then to make sure that the robot gets built the best we can, and we fix it up in this spring.
And the staff members, the other staff members?
Yeah, well, we have staff members that also do things like business plans and fundraising and travel, all the things that a team needs to be successful and actually go through a season and be effective.
So if somebody's watching this and they want to get their kid involved or they want to be involved,
Sure.
what can they do?
Well, they can go to www.mo365.org. We're a nonprofit, so we're part of a First State Robotics nonprofit. But they can say that, hey, my son or daughter's interested, and they're in high school and they're interested. Even if they're not in high school, we have a progression of other programs from elementary school to high school that can get kids interested and excited about STEM. So they can express interest, and there's email addresses and places they can connect up with other folks that can help them.
And what kind of commitment is this?
Well, the commitment increases as you go from elementary school to high school. But this commitment right here is like a sports team. What happens is in the fall we meet once a week, but then when we get into the winter, when we get our game that we're playing, we actually are meeting 4 times a week, 3 times during the week and then once in a weekend.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for letting us come and see what you do. The kids are so talented, and it was our pleasure to be here.
It's great. We have a great group of kids, and we appreciate it, and we appreciate the 302 coming to check us out, check out our bots.
All righty. We'll be right back. For more information on the program, you can go to mo365.org. That'll do it for this week. We're going to leave you with more robot action satisfaction. Until next time, we'll see you on the 302.